I'm just outside of Buffalo, New York. I am a tech integrator for the elementary schools in West Seneca.
And one of our good friends.
Yeah, trying to be. Trying to spread the book creator love to
We
all the teachers I
appreciate
work
it.
with. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go live here.
Sounds good.
All right, so welcome everyone. Welcome to the this session. In this session, it is sponsored from the GEG Louisiana, brought to you by the GEG Louisiana. You can get more information about that online at geglouisiana.com. And so, if you do have this session is on reimagining the science notebook. I'm sorry, you all will have to excuse me because as I just talked to John, I went to a basketball tournament last week and end up getting sick, and so I'm just trying to shake back from that. So forgive me if my energy is a little bit lower today. All right. And so, if anybody knows what that AAU life is like, hopefully you have some empathy towards me in this situation. All right. And so, but today we are talking about reimagining the Science Lab journal using Book Creator, which is an absolutely awesome app. And today I have with us John Smith from Book Creator. I am going to also put a link to sign in the chat so that you can receive a certificate and everything with the with your sign in today for continuing education units. And then also, John, do we have any? I think we might have a couple of things that you might want to share or give away at the end, but I am going to
We do.
turn.
Stick
Awesome.
around.
Awesome. So I'm going to turn it over to you, John. Let me make sure that you have the permission to share your screen. Yes, and you do. So I'm going to turn it over to you, John, and thank you so much for being here with us today.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm really excited to be here today talking about book creator in science specifically. I think we said science notebooks, but I'm just going to go at it from a science in general kind of perspective here. So, yeah, anyway, it's going to be really exciting. But for those of you that don't know me, which is Jessica at this point, my name is John Smith. For real, I am the iPod teacher on Twitter. So if you're on Twitter and you want to give me a shout out, that's great. If not, that's okay. I'm also John Smith at bookcreator.com. So always feel free to reach out to me at any point if you have any questions or if you need anything at all. I am always there to help. Um, and let's see, I taught special ed for 12 years, mostly in the elementary school, fifth and sixth grade. Every once in a while, they threw a kindergarten class in there. I think just to keep me on my toes and make sure that I was still awake. And then after that, I was a tech integration specialist for 7 years, mostly at a high school. So lots of experience K to 12. And now I am a teacher success manager here at Book Creators. So lots of webinars, training, sales support, basically anything I can do to help schools, districts, teachers utilize Book Creator in their classrooms. That's really what I'm here for. So real excited, like I said, to be here. Let's see what else. Oh, I'm married. I've got 3 kids, 12, almost 12. He'll be 12 on Thursday, but I'm trying to get used to it now. 12, 8, and 5. and I love golf, which Wiley and I were talking about in my heyday, about 175 rounds a year, which is why I'm suffering from major body issues right now, right? And so, like, I was just talking about how I was at the chiropractor earlier today, so my body is not real happy with me after all of that golf. So now I've switched. I still golf, but now I'm also interested in detailing cars. So if you're anywhere near Ohio and you have a dirty ride, come on over. I'll be more than happy to wash that for you. I know that Tori's retweeted quite a few of my shiny car pictures in the last few months or so. So anyway, happy to wash a car, which is probably also not real great for my back, but it doesn't matter. Whatever, I'm gonna keep doing what I do. So anyway, today we are going to talk about reimagining science, right? Notebooks, and I would again just kind of say science in general for using Book Creator. And I'm sure I know that Tori works with lots of teachers, and I know that Jessica, you said that you are in the elementary school, so you kind of teach a little bit of everything, but we're focusing on the English language. So we're going to talk about how Book Creator through science can kind of help address all of that, right? So a lot of interesting things here today. But Jessica, have you used Book Creator before? I know Tori has, but Jessica, have you used Book Creator before?
Actually, I use it mainly for my students to keep track of what they learn with the English language, or in French to just do some creative writing and things like that.
Okay,
so it's
great.
really basic. I don't have skills.
That's okay. Basic is all we need sometimes, right? With Book Creator, because it's super easy to use. So just real quick, I always like to kind of mention sign in, but since you've already used it, I'm not going to worry about the sign ins. But everybody at the top left, when you're in your Book Creator account, there are these 3 black lines. And this is where a ton of information is going to be. If you're on the free version, you get 40 books, 1 library. If you're on the paid version, you get unlimited libraries and 1,000 books. So a lot of difference there. And Jessica, I'm not sure if you're on a free or paid version, but guess what? You're kind of have an advantage here because I'm going to be giving away door prizes later. And the only person in this group who may not have the paid version might be you. So if you stick around, you might get the full version of Book Creator before you're done here today.
That would be awesome.
Perfect. So in this teacher dashboard, what you find again is you'll have, after today, hopefully you'll have unlimited libraries, right, and 1,000 books. So you'll be able to do a lot more with Book Creator than you might have in the past. I always like to also bring up the Discover tab because it's a great place to go for resources. And I'm actually going to talk about some of those resources here today when we're talking about science. Specifically, down here where these books are that have been created by our ambassadors. So there's a ton of resources down here, everything from differentiated learning to high school formative assessment. But if you click over, we do have a book right here, Science Notebooks. And then there's one for science projects that you can always look at. So we're gonna kind of reference those books here today as well. And then across the top, we have our Learn tab, which is filled with support articles if you ever run into any questions. And then my favorite is our certification section. And please excuse my hair in that picture. I'm going to scroll right past it. This was in one of my long hair phases. But down here on the left, we have 18 videos that will take you on that deep dive into everything that Book Creator has to offer, followed by a quiz. And once you watch all of those videos and then pass the quiz, you do get a badge and you get a certificate of completion. So definitely something to look forward to, Jessica, especially if you haven't used Book Creator in a little while and just need kind of a refresher. Great tools in there. And I think Tori just tweeted out the other day, recertified and everything's ready to roll. So this is a great place to go for more information. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and go back into our library here today and want to talk a little bit about why, right? Why is this, why are we doing this webinar today? Why are we talking about Book Creator in science? And part of it is because there are some new science standards that have come out. And in those science standards, it really puts an emphasis on students' performance expectations, right? So it's really wanting to see what students can do and not just what they can soak in, right? What kind of information they can soak in, but what can they put back out there that really proves that they have an understanding, right, of what they can do, and find different ways for students to demonstrate that. And one of the things that I love most about Book Creator is that it allows all students, it doesn't matter what grade, doesn't matter what ability level, it really allows all students an opportunity to show what they have learned. And I can't help but think right now of one of my absolute favorite videos that I have ever watched. And I'm going to put the title of it here in the chat window. Oops, if I could spell. Let's see here. So if you ever get 15 minutes or so, and you go to YouTube and search for this video, Myth of Average by Todd Rose. And in this video, I'm not going to kind of rehash the whole thing, but I'm gonna kind of pick out the one point that I specifically think is hugely important during this video. And that is that Todd Rose was specifically mentioning a child. All right, and this child really had a mind for science, right? Loved science. But in school, the students struggled because in science class, the book was written at grade level. So science wasn't about science, science was about reading for this kid. And so because the student couldn't read at grade level, he didn't understand science. But if you were to ask the child about science and different things that he was interested in, he could tell you all kinds of stuff, right, about it. And so what I really loved in this video, you mentioned, it's a quote, it's something along the lines of the greatest minds, right, that we have might be hidden because first and foremost, science becomes a reading class or science becomes a writing class. And again, I say the same thing. Maybe it's math, maybe it's social studies, maybe it's science, maybe it's something else. But first and foremost, a lot of times for these kids, these classes become reading and writing classes. And if they struggle with that, like I said, we might bury their knowledge deep inside. And even in the video, he said maybe the cure for cancer is inside this kid's mind, but we'll never get there because this kid is still busy trying to figure out how to spell and read words. And so, again, if you get 15 minutes or so, watch that video because it's very, very powerful. But I really take that to heart, and maybe it's the former special ed teacher in me coming out. But my students were, they were special. They were amazing. They had a lot of great things inside their minds, but a lot of times we just couldn't get it out because they didn't fit into that box that we thought we wanted them to fit into. And so with Book Creator, and what you'll see today is that there are tons of ways that Book Creator can address the needs of different students by allowing them to shine and pick the different tools that they think are the best for them to kind of get that information out. All right, and so first off, I just kind of want to bring you to this blog post. And so this is our blog post, and I'll put the link to this here in the chat window as well. But we worked with Melissa Eaton, and Melissa Eaton actually taught science through, or taught, I should say, English language learners through science. So a lot of the students that she worked with were actually students who did not speak English as their native language. And she used this all over Zoom. And it was just really powerful to see what she did with her students. And so in this blog post, she talks about performance-based assessment. She shows an example of the student's lab notebook. And so this is Vina, for example, and she loves science, right? Talks a little bit about herself. She said, loves how she says she's doing some really cool things, right, in science. And so come learn with me. And so she was able to design this cover the way she wants, right? Make it personal to herself. And then she was able to document this learning as the year went on inside of this science notebook. And I'm going to show you some of these things here coming up. But specifically, one of the things that Melissa really mentioned was videos and images and how to really capture that hands-on learning inside of Book Creator. So I'm going to go back into my library here. I'm going to go to my little playground book here. And so Melissa mentioned specifically videos and images. And so inside of Book Creator, if I click the plus button here under media, there is an image section. And so what I love about this, and Jessica, you may love this too, especially with working with elementary students, is that the search bar here within Book Creator is all built within, right? So it doesn't go out to some random websites. They can find everything they need to find right here. So, maybe we're doing some examinations of trees. And so I can type in trees and hit search, and then I get all these beautiful images of trees that pop up. And what's even nicer about these images is that they are labeled for reuse, labeled for modification, and they are safe. So these are the safest images that Pixabay, who powers our image search, allows, right? So this is a really good opportunity for kids to maybe go find some better pictures, right? Like if I were to look out in my yard right now, the pictures of the trees are not fantastic, right? Like I wouldn't want to take those pictures. But maybe across the street in the woods, those are a little bit better. Or maybe I can find some nice images here. The other thing that's really awesome about our image search is it's not limited to just this search for the web. So one of my favorite things to do in the science classroom, or any classroom for that matter, is have kids go take images of things that they see in the real world. So we're talking about trees, or we're talking about photosynthesis, or we're talking about the rock cycle, or whatever in science class. Have the kids go take pictures of things on their phones, iPads, computers if they have the cameras on them, however they can. Have the parents help them out. Take these pictures, right, of things that are interesting and related to what they're doing in school, and then bring them into Book Creator. And the way you can do that is right here. It just says upload the image from your computer. And so I just click on this, it goes to my computer, it tries to find some images, and then I can bring those images right in. And what you'll notice here in Melissa's notebook, and what, again, I think this is fantastic. We've got a student here, took his own image using the camera on the device. We've got a video here, and there's actually a picture of the handwritten work. So you may have students who prefer writing with pencils or drawing with crayons and markers. And we're not here to say that that's bad, right? There's a time and place for everything. And especially now after this, the pandemic and this last year, which we thought was going to be way easier, and it's not. We thought it would be a lot easier, but a lot of teachers and a lot of kids are sometimes getting this like burnout, right, from all of the screen time that they've been on over the last couple of years. And so I love how Melissa has taken that and kind of taken advantage of it and said, well, hey, you know what? You don't want to use the screen right this moment. That's fine. Write your stuff down on paper, draw your images on paper, write your plans, but then let's bring it into Book Creator. And that way it doesn't get lost, right? It doesn't get thrown in the trash can, or my dog didn't eat my homework, or whatever. There's all kinds of things that we can do to kind of document that process. All right. Oh, yeah, Jessica. Yeah. So sometimes, right, looking for things, sometimes it gets some really weird images. Yeah, especially if you go out on the web, right? But again, what's really nice about the images here in our search is that they're all free and safe, right? Which is very cool. And then the other thing that Melissa mentioned specifically is video. So here under media, there is the camera option. So this is where you can take those still pictures, or you can record video. And so again, you click on record video, it gives you a countdown. Hey, Mr. Smith, today in class, you were talking about trees, and over here is a tree that is really cool. It's just a really awesome way for students to find learning in the real world. And Jessica, since you talk about languages specifically, I think what's really powerful here too is that with our video, once it uploads, and you'll have to apologize, my computer is not happy with me. I've got way too many things going on. Actually, I have a new computer on order, which has like 12 times the processing speed that my current one has. So I'm looking forward to getting that one. But here's my video, and I also apologize for my dog. When you click on the video and then click Inspector, you can add captions. And so what's really awesome about this, Jessica, especially if you're trying to get your students to learn English better, is I can add captions manually or automatically. But here's the real fun trick. If I enter them manually, I can have my video in English, but I can go in here and manually enter my text in French. So now I've got English video, French subtitles, or you could do it in reverse. You could record the video in French and then have English subtitles. And so I think that's going to be really awesome to help your students. Now, I'm not going to attempt to type French, so I apologize for that, but I think you get the picture. And I think what's even more amazing about this than science or math or languages or anything is that when students watch videos with the captions turned on, it actually increases their reading skills, increases their fluency, their comprehension, and their reading. So definitely something to think about as you're kind of going through this. All right, so that is video, and again, great way to capture that learning. And sometimes as a teacher, it's a great way for you to give out instructions. It's a great way for you to give out feedback to students. There's a lot that you can do with the video and photos. All right, and next one down is the pen, all right, our pen tool. And so again, I thought this was a really powerful example here. But in this case, Melissa's talking about circuits. And what she did was had the kids take pictures of circuits, dump it into Book Creator, have the kids add their text in there, or in this case, a little audio button so a student can audio or speak what's going on. Here's a video for the students to show what's going on. But this is where I thought things get really interesting. So the kids drew pictures of the circuits and put it into Book Creator. And then she used the pen tool to annotate over top of those images. So if I go back to Book Creator, and we'll just undo my photo here. We'll just leave the video up. Same thing kind of applies here. But plus button, media, pen. All right, so here are the pen tools that we have. Lots of pretty standard pens that you can choose from. But she had her students choose the Magic Ink. And I guarantee you your kids are going to love this down here. Choose Magic Ink, choose a type of pen, choose a side, and then what she did was she had them draw the pathways, right, of the circuits. And so you'll just have to kind of imagine the circuit here. But you can see I'm kind of drawing the pathways over top of this video. You can do pens over top of drawings. You can do it over top of text. You can do it right there on the page. If you just want to draw straight up, that's fine. But there's lots of ways that you can do this. And then when you click done, those images become movable. So I can move them around and get them exactly where I need them to be if I had to. So lots of amazing things you can do with that pen tool. The other thing, especially if you're working with younger students that the pen tool has, is this pen here called Auto Pen. And so I love the Auto Pen. So if I'm in science class and I'm trying to draw a tree, as I'm drawing the tree, it looks rather hideous. It kind of looks like an arm with a glove on it. But as I'm drawing this tree, at the top, the auto draw is trying to figure out what it is. So maybe the student just doesn't have good drawing skills like me. They can pick all these different trees up here that they like, and they click on one and it fixes the tree, right? It actually makes it look like a real tree. And then they can go in and color it with the other crayons and things like that. So again, another great tool. So maybe your students aren't good artists. Fine. You can use something like the pen tool to really bring out that science in them. All right. So that is the pen tool. And then another tool that Melissa had talked about specifically is teacher-created templates. All right, and how do teachers make these beautiful templates for students? And so I'm going to go back to my book, and I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you can actually get templates here within Book Creators. So first off, if I go back to my library, and my students go to create a new book, they have these standard books at the top. They have the comic books down here at the bottom. Comic books, by the way, really great for sequencing, right? So if you need step-by-step directions or sequences in the rock cycle or sequences in photosynthesis, great for comic books. But sometimes those same students who love the creativity get a little bit paralyzed by that blank page. So we do also have a section of templates here. So there's tons of different styles, lots of different themes down here. But what I love most about this is it's a great way for students to see the power of Book Creator. So it is a super simple tool, but you can make some stuff that's really, really amazing. And so in science class, one of my favorites is this one right here, and that is the notebook. And so I have a notebook template, which always makes me smile because I am a child of the 80s, and I remember Trapper Keepers, right? And so Trapper Keepers were huge when I was a kid, and this reminds me of a digital version of a Trapper Keeper. And so the student can go in here and they can click on anything there, click the inspector and edit it, right? So they can unlock this notebook and they can change it to, science. Maybe we put science notebook like so, and just get it close enough on the line to make it look the way we want. maybe change the color of the page, maybe add some photos, GIFs, whatever they want there to totally personalize it. And as you click through the pages, you'll see some other really cool things. So they can change and add their name here. We've got some dot paper, so if they need to, make some outlines and maybe make, some area and perimeter kind of stuff, you can do that here. But the real cool stuff happens when you click the plus button, you add some more pages. So for science specifically, I love these different chapters. And so now I might be able to say, well, this is photosynthesis chapter, right? Then we might have the rock cycle chapter. Then we might have erosion chapter, things like that. So I love having these chapter titles. And then there's all these page designs. So this one's really cool because it's a giant image followed by some notes. So it just gives your kids something a little bit to kind of look at here. I also like this one. So we have a couple of images and some notes. And again, your kids will be creative and they'll be able to come up with all kinds of different things for the way their pages look, but this will give them some ideas. So again, they can edit the text, they can change the photos in here and put whatever they need to. But one of my favorites, and this isn't, again, not specifically for science, but one of my favorites in terms of students is this one right here, and that is a planner. I don't know about you, but when I was in the classroom, my kids were great at excuses, especially if they were sick, right? So if they were out on Wednesday and Thursday, they came in and they were like, I can't take the test today because I didn't know what was going on, or I didn't do the homework because I didn't know what was going on. Well, now we have Google Classroom and Canvas and Schoology and all these different things. So that excuse kind of goes away. But again, if the idea is to get whatever the kids know out of them, then as a teacher, I ask myself, why am I focusing so hard on getting those kids to write down what their daily assignment is, right? If they have to go up to the board, we run out of time, they don't get it written down. Why is that becoming such a big issue? So for me, what I like about this planner is I can go in here and edit this planner and I can put in what I want, right, for Monday. What is the assignment, right? I'll go in here, I'll click the plus button, I'll add some text, and I'll just say like read chapter 1 or listen to it, right? Because I have students who may not be able to read it. All right, and so I'll just take that and put that right in there. So read chapter 1 or listen to it. And I'll go through on a Sunday night or whenever I do my planning, and I'll dump in all the assignments for the entire week right here. And then guess what? I'm going to show you a really cool trick. I've got this assignment page down. And so in my student notebooks, right, I'm going to have every kid in my class create a notebook just like this. All right, so there's going to be the Jessica notebook, the Tori notebook, right? There's going to be the Wiley notebook, all right there in my library. And here's the magic. I go into my own template. I go to the page that has the assignment on it, the whole week's assignments. And guess what? On Sunday night, this is what I do. Go to pages, go to my planner for this week. I click the 3 dots. I say copy to, and then I go into my library for my students. I see all of their notebooks. And guess what? I just click the little dot at the top, and it takes that planner page and it dumps it into everybody's notebook. So I just hit copy just like this. It says okay, and then boom, there it is. And so now my students don't have that excuse. All right, the same thing could be for any day of the week, any type of activity. So maybe I want to use this page for today's science journals. All right, I create the template, I send it to my students, and then they are able to make the edits and whatever they need to show their learning. Yeah, plans to travel, work plans differentiate is exactly what I need. Awesome, perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. All right, now there is another thing in terms of templates. So here are some templates that Melissa has created for her kids to compare insects, right? And this is what it might look like when a student is done. Same kind of thing. If you wanted to, you could create a new book, and then on the cover or wherever you want, you could maybe add some comic panels. Maybe there's 4 parts to the rock cycle. And I might just add some text in here and just say rock cycle. And then I might give instructions and put a little bit more information in here for my students. But then they'll go in here to my library. They'll see the rock cycle template book because I will name it template. Oops, can't spell. Template rock cycle. And then what they'll do is they'll see this, and the students will do the exact same thing. So they'll click the book icon, copy book, and then they'll choose your library, and it makes an exact copy that that student can edit, but it doesn't mess up the original. All right, and when they do this, I always have them put their name in there just so that we can see it. All right, so you can have students make their own copies if you want, or you can push out pages to your students as you see fit. So totally up to you how you do this. But those are some of the ways that Melissa did this, all right? And again, enabling every student to succeed. So Book Creator is just filled with different features that allow students to really, truly be successful. This is not a science example. Personally, my own children, during the pandemic, I had a point where I think I had like 7 or 8 webinars all back to back during a day. And I just needed my kids to be quiet, right? As long as I possibly could. So I had them get out Book Creator, and I said, take 10 pictures of things around the house that you think are interesting, and then write a sentence about each one. For my son, who was 10 at the time, easy, no problem there. All right, my daughter, who was 6 at the time, the typing was a little bit more difficult. So she used the audio button, right? So instead of using the text inside of her book, she went to the plus button, text, and she used the speech to text, sorry, not the audio, speech to text, and she would click the microphone and speak the text, and it would go into the book. And then for my daughter, who was 4, she'd click the plus button, go to record, and just record her voice saying what the 10 pictures were about. So really easy to differentiate in science, in any subject at all. But again, really easy to get kids to show what they know, right? By using the tools that they're comfortable with and not always having to force them to do writing. All right, now also inside this library, and I will give you the invite code here. So I'm going to take this code, I'm going to copy it and put it into the chat window here. But when you get into your Book Creator account, if you've never joined somebody else's library before, you're going to go to the 3 black lines to your teacher dashboard and scroll all the way to the bottom. At the very bottom, there is a button that says join a library. You're just going to click join. You're going to enter that code and click join again. All right. And that's going to get you into the library here that I'm presenting from today. Now, I'll leave this open for about a week. So if there's anything in here that you want to take and keep with you, make a copy of it, just like I showed you earlier. So you're going to click the 3 books, copy book, and put it into your My Books for now, right? Just get rid of it and put it in there so you can always go back and look at it. But in this library, there is a section here of templates. So Melissa's book that she wrote is also in here in this blog post. And so you can actually flip through Melissa's book, and it will go through step by step some of the stuff that she talked about. Nice little intro video, table of contents. But as you're flipping through Melissa's book, you'll see some of the lab stuff that the kids did, right? So she talks about performance-based assessment, and it shows some examples. She talks about all of the different videos and images and what that might look like and why, right? So a lot of stuff we talked about, she'll put that in the book. So that book is here, but she was kind enough also to leave a couple of her templates here as well. So if you click on this page, it says, this book that says teacher templates, and you scroll through it, here are some templates that she did for designs, plans, and video. And then if you click to the next page, here's another one, right? Comparing insects. So even if you're not talking about insects, you can certainly use these template pages to fit in with whatever you are specifically talking about. So make a copy of that book and you can have it. The next book over, this is another science notebook template that my colleague Catherine had made. Now this one does not have a bunch of template pages. This is more of a really cool cover, but you can imagine your kids putting their faces right on top of here and really enjoying this cover. And then the rest of the pages are just lined paper in this case. We have another science notebook here, template that you can copy. And on this one, again, some different options. This was just separated by date. So on today's date, here's the notes and reflections that I have. And then we have a K-5 science notebook. Now this is one that Catherine had done with a school district she's currently working in. working with, but she put in here an agenda. So she's using this template more as the daily lesson plan, right? So here's what we're going to do in the entire lesson plan for the day. And then here's an introduction. Here's a pulse check, right? And scan me and tell me what you're feeling about this, the topic that we're about to talk about. So maybe it's like a KWL. What do you know about the rock cycle? What do you know about plants? That kind of thing. And this, actually, I'm going to go back to this page here real quick. So this pulse check, I love this. I honestly don't know where this scan goes, but one of my favorite things about Book Creator is that you can click the plus button more and you can embed. So one of my favorite things to embed in a book like this is actually an old school tech tool. It's still one of my favorites to use for things like this, and that's Padlet. So I can go to Padlet and create a little board and say, what do you know? What do you want to know? And what did we learn all about whatever science topic it is? And I can embed that Padlet right here inside of Book Creator. And so when my students get to this page that says pulse check, they just tap on the Padlet, it opens it up, and they can type in the information right there on the Padlet board. So I love this idea of getting that quick pulse check for your students. Here are some more examples of amazing books. A weather book, we've got a Journey to Mars, Aman's Lab Notebook, which I'm actually going to show you here in a second. So just some really cool pages that you can get ideas from, resources from. And then if you keep going through here, top features that Catherine loves for science class. I think these are fantastic. We've talked about most of these already. And then we also have a new feature coming out that I forgot to mention, but this is going to be also really powerful in science classes, especially for journals. So one of our newest features that will be coming out in August, which is August, like it's August now. I can't believe how fast the summer is gone. But it's August, so sometime soon, like in the next couple of weeks, this little button down here at the bottom right is going to allow you as the teacher to leave feedback for student work. So student will do their work over here. Maybe they'll talk about their findings and what they learned. And then as the teacher, you can click add comment. You can add comments in text and click post, but that's totally not what Book Creator is all about, right? Text is great, but there's more ways that we can leave feedback by video, audio, emojis, Giphies, feedback stickers, and animated emojis. All right, so I'm telling you, your kids are gonna love it, right? If they have a really awesome, lab manual, and you go in here and you put something like, let's see, or maybe they had a question, and you're kind of like, ooh, that is a good question. I don't really know, right? Let's think more about that. So a great way that you can leave feedback for your students. So again, that's coming out hopefully in the next week or two, but you'll be able to use that here soon. All right, and then sharing with students, we talked a little bit about that. So again, this is a science notebook that Catherine came up with, and I had some ideas and tips and tricks. And then there's also an actual lesson plan booklet here as well, with lots of different pages that you can certainly borrow, steal, put into your own books if you want to. Okay. Oh, I was going to show you Aman's. So this is Aman's Lab Notebook. So again, designed the cover, added the goggles at the top, which I think is really cool. Circuits, again, you can hear the student's voice.
Here is how my circuit works. So first, it starts from the battery, and then you connect the negative wire and the positive wire to the turner.
Okay, so you can see, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but you see, it's really nice because Aman gets her voice in there, and she may not have been able to type all of that out or write all of that out. She can use her voice. And then again, some more things. There was an Obi's experiment, lots of different experiments throughout the year that she was able to just keep adding to, so that at the end of the year, they had this beautiful science notebook that they could look back on and reflect on all of their learning. All right. All right, now I know we're a little bit on the early side, but I don't think anybody's going to yell at me for letting you out a little bit early. But are there any questions or thoughts, aha moments, things that excite you about what we talked about here today? And you can put it in the chat window, or you can unmute yourself, either way.
I think it just, reignited me so that I can work with those classroom teachers, especially in that science and get them to use the book creator more with their students, and capture, just like you're showing, capturing the students' voice and the videos, and having the kids more come alive with the science notebook rather than all these papers being shuffled around or copied, and so it gives me some more things to kind of lean on this fall.
Awesome. Yeah, as a former tech integrator, I think, and as a book creator, user and teacher success manager, one of the things that I hear a lot when I say book creator is that the English language arts teachers are like, yes, this is awesome, and then everybody else is like, well, we don't do books. Like we don't do books in science or math. Like, what are you talking about? It doesn't have to be a book in the traditional kind of sense, right? It could be a lab book. It could be just a documentation of learning. So and the fact is that kids love book creators. So you give a kid a choice between the standard way and book creator, I guarantee you they're going to pick book creator because they can be successful and they can add a lot of cool things in there that they haven't been able to do before. So yeah, great stuff there. Jessica, how about you? Any final thoughts or questions? I know you seemed excited with some of the stuff that we talked about.
Yes, I was typing, but I'm too slow. First thing, I like to share things with my families as well, to so that they knew what happens in my class, because we don't follow the same curriculum as other classes here. So they're sometimes worried about what really happens in the classroom. So this would be a great way to share with them, and to also increase the motivation of my students, because when their parents know what they do, they feel like they do things that matter.
Yeah.
Also, I was looking into your in the US, you do a lot of things like STEM or STEAM, and we don't teach science that way. And I'm looking into this, and I have the whole month to get used to that. And I think there's something to do with book creator to record what they did, to share, and to keep memory. And also, last thing, I also would like to build portfolios for them, so with them. And so I think I need to process all that you said, but I think it's going to be really useful.
Awesome. Yeah, and don't feel like you got to run out and do this tomorrow. The recording for this will be available, and you'll be able to go back and watch it whenever you want. And there is also on our YouTube channel the recording of us doing a webinar with Melissa. So she actually did a webinar talking about her blog post and more about this specific topic. So if you definitely go to our YouTube channel and look that up, you'll definitely be able to see it. So yeah, really excited. I appreciate everybody being here. This is it. So Jessica, if you could put your email into that chat window, then I will get out some information to you, because we don't even have to do a drawing, because Tori, he's already got the full version. His district uses book creator, so we don't need to worry about him. But Jessica, we will definitely get you an upgraded version of book creator, and I believe it's for 6 months, an upgraded version, and that will give you everything the book creator has to offer for the next 6 months. So
That would be awesome.
Yeah, just put your email in the chat window there, and I'll have somebody reach out to you with the information that you'll need to get that upgrade.
Thank you.
Sure thing. And there's a Wiley Footage YouTube channel in there with the recordings that we've done already. We got next week. What's next week? Wiley, is it Writer's Workshop?
That is correct. That is correct. And so we can also register for additional sessions. So thank you for that, John. And I'm also going to put the direct link into for next week's session. Let me grab the direct link here. And so we have this book creator series that is happening every week. And so they've been during the day, but here in Louisiana, we are getting ready to go back to school. And so this week actually began one of the first days for the educators to go back. And so we also have where next week we're going to be doing the enhanced readers and writers workshop with book creators. That one is going to be actually in the afternoon. That one is going to be at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that gives the opportunity for those educators here in Louisiana to be able to participate even if they have started school again. So we definitely want to thank you, John, thank Catherine as well, and all of Book Creator for everything that they have done and are doing with this awesome tool for our students, number one, and then for our teachers as well. Uh,
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thanks for allowing us to do it. We appreciate it.
Jessica, I am curious to know, when do you go back to school there in France?
Um,
Uh-oh. I think she might have.
Sorry, I did mute myself. Sorry. So teachers have to go back at the end of August, like I guess on the 31st, but usually we go back earlier just to, like everyone does, just to be ready. And the students, I think, are gonna show up 2 days later. We don't have a whole week to prepare, so it's just usually they come back in September.
Gotcha. Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, again, we definitely thank you all for joining us today. Hopefully, we will see you. Make sure that you sign in as well, because you do get your certificate. I think I put that link in the chat earlier. I will put it back here again. There it is. And so, and hopefully we will see you on some more of our sessions that are coming up. Like next week, we will be doing the workshop. All right. So thank you again, John. Yes, Jessica.
Yes, thank you, Wiley. That's it. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Tori. Thanks, Jessica.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you all so much.
Yep. Have a great day, everybody.
All right. Bye
See ya.
bye.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.